Welcome to EuroChit-Chat. Picture this, it's 1982, and two business school students in Paris are analyzing the fragrance industry for a class project. They spot something that seems almost too obvious. Luxury fashion brands have everything it takes to sell expensive perfumes, but most of them are not doing it. These two students realized that if they could solve this problem, they wouldn't just build a company. They'd create an entirely new business model that would reshape the fragrance industry. This is the story of Inter Parfums and how spotting one structural inefficiency turned into one of the most elegant business models in the modern commerce. In the early 1980s, at ESSEC Business School in Paris, two French students, Jean Madach and Philippe Benesson, analyzed the fragrance industry, and they discovered that luxury fashion brands were leaving massive amounts of money on the table. Fashion houses like Burberry, Lanvin, and dozens of others had powerful brand names that consumers trusted. But when it came to fragrances, most of them were struggling or not even trying. In fact, for decades, fashion houses faced structural, financial, and cultural barriers that made perfumes a bad business for them. For a fashion house, making perfumes in-house would cost tens of millions of dollars and take years. Most brands didn't have the expertise, resources, or desire to do it. But consumers absolutely wanted fragrances from their favorite fashion brands. The disconnect was obvious. Madach and Benesson realized they could become the bridge. They would build the expertise and infrastructure that fashion brands needed, then license the brand names to put on the perfumes they created. The fashion houses would focus on what they did best, building their brand equity, while Inter Parfums handled everything fragrance-related. So in 1982, 1 year before they graduated, they turned their business school insight into reality and founded Jean-Philippe Fragrances in Paris, later became Inter Parfums. So how exactly does Inter Parfums' licensing model work? The basic idea is that the brand owns the name, the licensee builds and runs the business, and in the end, the revenue is shared. So Inter Parfums would approach a luxury brand and negotiate a licensing agreement, typically lasting 10 to 20 years. Under this agreement, Inter Parfums gets the exclusive right to develop, manufacture, market, and distribute fragrances under the brand name. In exchange, Inter Parfums pays the brand a royalty, generally in the range of 5% to 12% of net sales, often combined with minimum guaranteed payments. For the fashion brands, it's essentially a risk-free revenue stream. They don't invest a single dollar in manufacturing facilities, inventory, or marketing campaigns. They don't hire perfumers or build distribution networks. They simply collect royalty checks. If a fragrance becomes a bestseller, they profit. If it flops, Inter Parfums absorbs the loss. But here's what makes it brilliant for Inter Parfums. Once you've built the infrastructure for one brand, adding more brands becomes increasingly profitable. Your manufacturing facilities, distribution networks, and retail relationships can serve multiple brands simultaneously. This creates massive economies of scale. Whether Inter Parfums makes perfume for 5 brands or 50 brands, they still need the same core infrastructure. The marginal cost of adding another brand to their portfolio is relatively low, but the revenue potential is enormous. This is why their profit margins improve as they grow. The licensing model also provides predictability. These are not one-off transactions. They are decade-long partnerships with renewal options. This gives Inter Parfums stable, recurring revenue that they can forecast years in advance. But Inter Parfums doesn't just license brand names and slap them on generic perfumes. They operate as a general contractor, and this is where their real value lies. When Inter Parfums partners with a brand, they become the orchestra conductor for everything fragrance related. They start by working with a brand to understand its DNA, target customer, and market positioning. Then they collaborate with world-renowned perfumers to create scents that authentically represent that brand identity. Next, they handle manufacturing, coordinating with specialized perfumers and production facilities they've cultivated relationships with over decades. They manage quality control and ensuring every bottle meets luxury standards. And then comes packaging and design. Inter Parfums works with designers to create bottle, boxes, and presentations that feel true to the brand while standing out on crowded retail shelves. After that, they manage the entire distribution strategy. Which department stores should carry the fragrance, which countries should launch first, and how to handle duty-free and e-commerce channels. Finally, they handle marketing and advertising, designing campaigns, hiring brand ambassadors, organizing launch events, and managing social media and PR strategies to generate buzz around each new release. And Inter Parfums doesn't invest millions in building and maintaining perfume factories. They coordinate production with specialized perfumers and contract manufacturers who already have the equipment, expertise, and certifications. The beauty of this model is that they act as a general contractor for fragrances, owning no factories, yet controlling the entire process and all risk areas that matter, which is turning specialized expertise into scalable, low capital, high value business. First, the best opportunities hide in structural inefficiencies. Fashion brands wanted fragrance revenue but couldn't efficiently produce fragrances themselves. That gap between what companies want to do and what they are capable of doing is where billion-dollar businesses are born. Second, specialized expertise compounds over time. Every brand Inter Parfums works with makes them better at perfume creation, retail relationships, and marketing. This expertise becomes a moat that's nearly impossible for competitors to cross. Third, the asset-light general contractor model is incredibly powerful. Inter Parfums doesn't own factories or warehouses. They coordinate, they orchestrate, they manage relationships. They turned a business goal inside into a global business by solving a real problem luxury brands face.